Hi, this is number 28 in the series that I've been doing in videos and audios, very brief, in regards to feeding your faith in God and starving your fears of the voices of the world and all the conjecture that they can present and put up. Now, in verse 27 of Hebrews chapter 11, it talks about Abraham, closes with Abraham, and it talks about how he endured. You are going to, as a Christian, you're going to need to endure to the end, is what Jesus said. He endured. He was a slave, or his people were a slave, while he was raised by the king's daughter. But when he realized he was one of the Jews, one of the slaves, it says he made a decision. He chose to follow God and be a part of his faith and his religious convictions. And it says here that he, not fearing the king's commandments, and that not only did he not fear the king's commandment, but the important thing was he saw that which was invisible or spiritual. God is a spirit, not a mind, not a physical being in the sense that we think of. He's a spirit. He's invisible. We don't see him, but Abraham, all of these faith people were mindful of that invisible realm, not only where God is, but also where the attacks come from. So keep that in mind. You're going to have to see things as a Christian that are spiritual, that are invisible, and you're going to have to endure some things. Then in Hebrews chapter 11, again, they just talk and mention these names. We have to go back to the history and look at the what the history records. But the next person that they mention is a woman by the name of Rahab. Now again, God honors women. God poured out his spirit upon all flesh. And it's not just on men. It's not just for men. Well, the 12 spies, when Moses crossed into the promised land, he sent 12 of the top best people from Israel into Jericho. And a woman recognized that they weren't, they were Jews, and she feared them, and that she had a fear of God, and she promised to protect them and preserve them, which she did. Of the 12, only 2 came back saying that there are angels of the land in the land. There are giants in the land, but we are able to take the land. The other 10 key people, key believers under Moses, they said we are not able. And so they backed off and put fear in the hearts of people, and they were not able to enter into the promised land as they should have, and had to wander for 40 years and 40 nights. God hated that. But that was their doing, not God's doing. And God didn't predestine it. God didn't pre-plan it. He wanted them to possess the land, but they had to keep their side of the covenant. They had to stand up. They had to fight their enemies and defeat their enemies, knowing that God was with them. So Rahab protected the witnesses. She didn't tell, and she ended up living, and she is honored in this chapter, and a lot of other things about Rahab that's important for us to understand. Then the next person that they mention, again, is the story of Gideon. Now, Gideon had finally had an angel appear to him, and they rallied together like 3,000 members of an army. Then Gideon led them down to a watering hole, and God said, there's too many here for you to go against them, lest they say that they won the battle and that I didn't do it. So he said, you pick out only the people that go down and take the water and put it in their hands and bring it to their mouth, and are looking around. They're watching. They're examining. They're waiting. They're looking for something to happen. They're expecting something to happen. The rest of them, if they just, give in to the thirst, and they're so thirsty and stuff like that, they don't care what's going on around them. They get swallowed up with the voices of the world and the circumstances of the world. He said, you put them aside. And so Gideon chose 300 men, and with those 300 men, he went against a massive army and won a victory that day. Again, Gideon's faith is honored along with those 300 people, but all those other people of God who are not worthy of that honor because they didn't look. Faith will look, will wait. We have to wait, we have to endure. So that's another concept. We'll get into the next one here in a few, in another session. You have a great day. God bless.